Hello and welcome back. This is the third video on an introduction to using RapidMiner Studio. In this video, we will talk about creating a model. If you haven't watched the past two videos, importing data and visualizing data, please do so now because they are the foundation for this video. Let's take a look at where we are in the business process. You see that yellow arrow off to the right? We're currently at the modeling stage. Great, so let's get started. By now you should be pretty familiar with loading up RapidMiner, so I'll switch over to that. When you first load up RapidMiner, you should see this splash screen. We went over this before, so today we're going to hover down to the New Process button and click it to start a new process. In the past two videos, we showed you how to load in a spreadsheet, save that data to the RapidMiner data format, and also save a process. Today we're going to drag that data out and we're going to build a model from it and save that process. So first, let's hover down to our lower left. You see your local repository? Why don't you click on it? Click on the data directory, highlight your customer data, and drag it over, like so. We're going to inspect this data and talk a little bit about it before we actually build the model. So click on the output port, drag a wire to the result port, click it, come over to your play button and run it. We've seen this result before, but let's talk a little bit more about it to understand what we need to do to build a decision tree. As we talked about before, each row in your data set is called an example in RapidMiner, and each column is called an attribute. You see this churn column here? It's green. Well, that means it's a special column. It means it's a special attribute. In this case, if it's green, it's a label. But what does the label mean? The label is just a fancy name to tell any advanced algorithm that you're going to use that you want to use all these other attributes to try to understand what may make a person be either loyal or churn. But if you have sharp eyes, you'll see that there's some question marks here. Those are rows or examples where we don't know if this person belongs in the loyal bucket or a churn bucket. These may be new customers that you just got, and you want to be able to find out where do they belong. Are they loyal or are they churn? And if they are churn, you might want to take some preemptive actions to try to keep them. So a lot of times, advanced algorithms can't handle missing values. So what we're going to do today is we're going to filter out all the missing rows, such as this one, and build a decision tree from the past data where we either know the person is loyal or churn. So how do we do that? Well, we'll use one of RapidMiner's advanced ETL, also known as extract, transform, and load operators, to blend and massage the data. So let's click on the design perspective. Let's come over here in the upper left and do a search for something called a filter example. Highlight it and drag it over, and when you see the wire get thick, drop it. One thing you should know, RapidMiner is pretty smart about wiring operators together, but sometimes you may want to have a little bit more control over it, so feel free to hover over the port, right-click, and then disconnect it if you don't want it. But in this case, we'll leave it. Let's click on Filter Examples, and let's set the conditions to filter out all those missing rows. Navigate to the right to your parameter window, click on Add Filters, and it gives you a nice wizard. You can see here that it automatically populated gender, but we don't want gender, we want to filter on churn. So pull down this menu, select the churn, and hover over here to the conditions. Pull them down, scroll down to is not missing. So what we're doing here is we're telling RapidMiner to filter out all the churn rows that are not missing. Let's hit OK, and let's hit the Run button. Wonderful. Great. I don't see any more question marks. Great. So are we ready? No. Let's just do one more checking. Let's hover over to the Statistics tab to make sure there are no missing values. Click on Statistics, look at the churn column, And you can see here, there are 0 missing. Now we're ready to build a decision tree. Great. So let's go back to our design perspective. Click here. And go back to our operator window and look for a decision tree modeler. Highlight it, drag it over, drop it on the wire. Okay, great. Before we hit run, let's save all our work. Come over here, let's expand the process directory. We see we have 01 import customer data, so let's call this 02 build decision tree. Let's save it by highlighting the process directory, right-clicking, and say store process here. Okay, let's go do that. 02 build decision tree. Hit OK, and now we're ready to run it. Come over to your play button and let's run it, and let's inspect the results. Okay, in this decision tree we see that the most important variable to split on is gender. So if you're a new customer and you happen to be male, you're going to be loyal. However, though, if you're, let's say, a female named Annie who's 39 years old and may have interacted with us 177 days, let's see where she would belong on this tree. Gender, Annie's female, so she's not greater than 89, but she's less than 89. Okay, and we said she was 39. So if she's greater than 39, she's over here in this branch. So she is likely a churn candidate. If Annie was less than 30 and may have interacted with us 180 days or 182 days ago, she would also be here in this churn column. Congratulations, you built your first decision tree model. Thank you very much for watching.